Yeah, we're going to find out more as we move forward, you know, and I know that the guys that have practiced this week have really done a nice job, you know, playing in different roles, and as we always ask them to do every week. So we'll know more about that later.
When you don't have an Amari in your lineup, what does that mean, for your offense and for you guys?
Yeah, whenever there's a player that has played and he's not in the lineup, you have to adjust some things, and roles change slightly, and some roles change the same, or stay the same. So I think that the guys, again, the room that we have has a great ability to adjust, and they're very strong mentally, and they're always prepared to play in multiple spots. So that's been very encouraging to watch. Not only, if Amari is or is not in the lineup, it's nice to see those guys have the ability to adjust and us to be able to function. And that has to do with their preparation and how well they can adjust. And that's why it's a good group that way.
When you talk about that, specifically, I think Joe Flacco mentioned it, and maybe somebody else, about Elijah kind of bumping into Amari's role against the Rams after Amari got hurt. So, like, what kind of adjustment is that for Elijah?
Yeah, it's something that we talk with to our guys weekly of, hey, we have contingency plans, and there's going to be some period in the game, whether a guy gets tired or a guy gets the equipment issue, that you're going to have to be able to adjust. And we truly prepare that way. So during the week, we'll have guys play different spots. It may be so when that situation comes up, which it did versus the Rams, where now all of a sudden Elijah is our split end and he's playing quite a bit in that role, that they're able to handle that. So we really do put a lot of time and investment, and I would say hard work, into, all right, if this were to happen, this is how we're going to adjust, and you need to be prepared mentally to handle that.
Mostly where he lines up, or the routes different too?
Well, I think it's both. So not only from an assignment and a mental standpoint, but there are some things that are different that he would do in that position that he's going to do is the receiver he usually lines up at, the tag that he usually. So I think it's a combination of both, and we try to work hard at both of those things. Like during practice, we will always make sure we practice the players at different positions, and when they have their routes on air, which is really important for us to work with the quarterbacks, we'll make sure they get enough at all spots to where, hey, if it does come up, and sometimes it comes up for a play or two, and sometimes it comes up for the whole game, like it did with Amari being injured early.
Ward has that connection between Elijah and Joe, and just one has, as he's gotten acclimated to the team, but just like Elijah being in a bigger role with Amari being out last week.
Yeah, he's obviously had some familiarity with Elijah's had familiarity with Joe in the past, but I think what's most important is what he's doing now with Joe on the field and in the meeting room. That's really the priority and the most important. And Elijah's such a hard worker, both on the field and in the meeting room, that regardless of who's playing quarterback, like he just, he works so hard to get on the same page, and that's really what I'm most proud about with Elijah, is how hard he works to be there for the quarterback regardless of who's playing.
The last couple of weeks seems to have gotten a lot more reps during the game. The patience he's sort of shown, kind of biding his time. Can you talk about that and how he's, kind of quietly improved to, over the course of this?
I can't say enough about David Bell and what he means to this team. He has played for us more here recently. He's always prepared to play. That's number one. And he can play in a multiple position role, which we talked about earlier, how important that is. So I think David could function at every spot we ask him to do, because he's high, he's very smart. And when the ball is thrown to David, he's caught the ball. And David is a true team player for us. He obviously hasn't played maybe as much as some of the other guys in our starting lineup, but he means as much to our team as those starters. He really does, because he can function in those roles when you need a guy. And I thought he did a great job this past week versus the Rams of being able to, you know, at times help some other guys get lined up and to do their job in different roles once Amari was injured.
How are you seeing Cedric improve? I know he had a couple more targets against the Rams, but like, I don't know, just how has he improved this season?
Yeah, Cedric has really made a lot of progress, and he's really has improved, and we've seen that daily from Cedric as we've gone along throughout the year. And he's improved because he's taken the coaching and he's worked extremely hard. But it's nice to see him, you know, have some confidence now that he's played. And I think, you know, just exposure experience helps him in his development, which he's gotten more, you know, more reps out there in the last couple of weeks, and that's been really good. But Cedric has really done a nice job both run and pass. You know, he's done a really nice job for us in the run game of being physical, and he's very unselfish that way, and he helps the team in both the run and the pass. But his improvement's really been based on him just constantly working, taking the coaching, not only from me, but he's really taken to some of the leaders that we have on offense that have kind of guided him along the way, not necessarily X's and O's, but just how to be a professional and how to go about his business on a daily basis as a rookie player.
What did you think of the way that Joe Flacco stepped in there, spread the ball around to 9 different pass catchers, and just managed the game?
Yeah, very impressed with Joe last week, and just I was so impressed with the way he worked throughout the week, and you know, really did a nice job of trying to be on the same page with our receivers, and had a really good, a lot of communication between the two. So that was nice to see, and you know, I just think he did a really nice job and worked really hard last week.
With Marquise, I don't know if he's completely cleared yet or not, but if he is and is able to play, could he have a role after missing so much time? And do you feel like you guys kind of missed that speed when he was gone?
Yeah, I mean, if Marquise is available to us, he definitely brings the element of speed, which is awesome. And Marquise is a player that has really stayed engaged when he has not been with us out there physically. So I know when the time comes when he's going to be available to us and he has the opportunity, I think he's going to make the most of it just because of what he's done, you know, outside of he really has controlled the things he can control, and that's stay attentive in the meetings, stay locked into our game plan. He was obviously with us all week in Los Angeles last week and did a great job of being just right there with us and trying to learn everything we were doing in the game plan despite not playing. So I know that he'll make the most of his opportunities, a veteran player that brings speed, and I look forward to getting him back in the lineup whenever that is.
When you look at some of the drops that have happened, and I know some of them didn't come from your room, but when you look at some of the drops, do you attribute it to 4 different quarterbacks, or just they have to focus more? Or
yeah, from my perspective, it's about us. It really is, and you know, there has been some changes at the quarterback position, which we're all aware of, but at the end of the day, regardless of who's throwing the ball, you know, it's our job to catch it. So we go back and really work hard at the fundamentals in that area, just like we will in certain fundamentals that were lacking, you know, in previous weeks. We will really go back and work harder on those and make that a point of emphasis. I know Coach Stefanski always talks about you get what you emphasize, and that's something we definitely put as an emphasis of just fundamentally let's catch the ball and be really clean there. And despite, you know, the quarterback changes, it's all about us and our ability just to be fundamentally sound and catch the ball.
Real quick, if he's up, is he ready for some targets and ready to roll?
Yeah, Austin Watkins is another player that's in the room. You know, we have players that obviously are on the active roster or players on the practice squad, and we talked to all those guys about just being prepared at all times. You know, Austin was called up a few weeks ago, and I really felt like he was ready to go in the game if he's called upon. He's really worked hard in his practice squad role. You know, that's all we ask guys to do is be prepared when your time comes. We're all in this together. There's going to be a time where you'll have your opportunity, but you have to put the preparation in and be mentally ready to go, which, you know, I believe Austin's another one of our receivers who has embraced the challenge of kind of playing in different roles, and I know he would be ready for the opportunity if he was called upon. Good? All right, guys. Everybody have a great Friday.
It's good.
Just how nice will it be for you guys to maybe have Denzel back this week?
Anytime that you get, you know, a start player back, especially Denzel, you know, with him being the tip of the spear in the room as a student, he brings a really big spark for us. It will be amazing.
And how much has it kind of hurt not to have him the last couple of weeks?
Sure, you know, we have like very high standards for all of our guys across the board. So it's really one of those things that next man up mentality. Like all of our guys in the room keep the focus on the work. So really, you know, having him out has really put an emphasis just on our technique and fundamentals of our other guys.
Beyond just his talent, what is it specifically that when he's on the field, he brings that maybe you don't get from others, you know, taking nothing away from others, but that he specifically brings when he's out there?
Toughness, you know, the way that he plays the game with his effort and his passion. And he's a very smart player. And when we say that, like he's ahead of plays. So he keeps us ahead of situations. He's very aggressive. And with him being a student of the game, he also communicates with the others out there to help our team be ahead of the plays.
How's he look this week?
Yes, he's looking more and more like himself. You know, again, like working like diligently to get back. You know, he's still that very smart player out there with very good energy, press coverage. He tracks the ball well. So really good to see him out there moving.
We've seen how Martin has grown on the field, but how has he grown in that room?
You know, any time that you have a student that's bought into the team concept, right? That's also like a tough guy. He plays with the edge. Like you really see like his maturity and leadership. And I say that, you know, you brought in guys like A-Walk, you brought in guys like Rodney, and you've seen him really blossom just by bringing in other leaders, like tip of the spear guys that have high standards like himself. And it's really been showing. His toughness, his effort, his passion, like what he brings to our defense has really been leaking over to the other rooms too.
Jim talked yesterday about how Greg was used outside against, I think it was Denver, and then more in the slot last week against the Rams. Like, what goes into that decision, how you use them?
Sure. The team, most importantly, the team, us winning matchups. And really, you know, we talk about like body types. We have high standards for our guys across the board. So putting our guys in premium position so that our team can win, so that our offense can get the ball back, and we can set up our special teams in good field position as well.
I think he gave up a couple of plays in that Denver game. How did you think he responded last week?
Oh, man, like he responded like the champion that he is. You know, we all keep the focus on the work, but with him specifically, you never see his energy waver. You never see the team waver, more importantly. So with him keeping the focus on the work with his technique and fundamentals, he's just going back to work the very next day.
What is it about, you know, you guys don't know if you're going to be playing Trevor Lawrence this weekend. What makes that challenging for you?
Sure. You know, it's some uncertainty there, but, you know, we like to really keep the focus on what we do. You know, our technique, our fundamentals don't change. The way that we communicate, the way that we execute as a team, our role being the tip of the spear to help our engine, to really rely on the nerve center for communication, none of that changes. So we really like to keep the focus on our work and things that we can control.
On that, there was one play last week where I think it was 2nd and 20, and Robinson caught like a 30-yard pass.
Yes.
Was Mike supposed to get hands on him at the line of scrimmage?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know, we can obviously improve our technique and our fundamentals in that situation, but our guys, like, they work diligently to keep improving that for the team. That just happened to be a play that, you know, it cost us a little bit, but that's something that all of our guys have learned from. We've moved on from it, and we'll make the adjustments.
And what do you see out of first Ridley for the Jaguars, and then a couple of your corners have also said you treat Ingram like a receiver.
Sure.
So what do you see out of those two guys?
Playmakers. You know, these guys are playmakers on all three levels of the field. The guys are very competitive. It's going to be a very tough matchup for us. It's going to be one that we're going to have to rely on our technique and fundamentals. We're going to have to lean on our engine, and we're going to have to, you know, lean on our special teams and our offense as well. Okay. Yes. Thanks. Yes, ma'am.